I had lunch with a buddy of mine. He wants to be able to, like, basically his goal is he wants to be able to, in a zombie apocalypse, zombies are chasing him, and someone's injured. He wants to be able to pick them up, throw them on his back, like over his shoulder, and be able to run up a hill and get away from the zombies. We were having lunch today, and we're talking about a bunch of different things, and we get to the topic of like GLP-1’s. I don't know if he's seen my video. I didn't ask. I'm guessing by some of the things he said, like the way he was talking, he probably hasn't seen my video. And he only said a little bit, and I think he was more towards the negative side. Like he talked about how, you know, he referenced Dr. Mike's video about, oh, if you know why, and I talked about this in my video about you can willpower. Yeah, sure, you can willpower through it, but why not just take the shot or a pill, because they're doing pills now, and free up all that willpower? Like what else could you be doing with all that willpower? And so he made the point, yeah, but then you're not developing that character. Like the point of going, it's not just like, oh, I'm a bodybuilder and the discipline is it's part of it. His thing was like, then you're not developing a character by actually taking the actions to discipline yourself. So yes, you free up that discipline, but and I agree 100% with him on this. But, and there's like always a but, right? So yes, 100% agree, but I agree with that because like I went through my own transformation. Okay, so I used to look like this, and now I look, well, I mean, you can see me, but now I look like this. Okay, well, there you go. I changed, like not just physically, a lot. Like I had to go through things like Dark Night of the Souls. I had to go through like goals and prioritization, figuring out what I really cared about, what was, you know, the focus. I had to learn. You can say this is useless in terms of like, if you didn't, you know, other than it's a skill that only supports this one thing, but like I had to learn about bodybuilding, but then in that I learned about fitness and all this kind of stuff. Like I was afraid of everything. Like I didn't even take protein powder because I knew it wasn't steroids, but like I didn't even take protein powder. Like I'm putting that stuff in my body. So that process, it was a rounding up like a 4-year process. My son's mark on me, hold on. So his point was essentially the willpower, like, and what you become. And I agree, you become something else, you grow as a person, you have to level up, as it were. My point back to him was, yes, but there's dire situations. So a lot of people who take GLP-1s, I'm not gonna say can't realistically just go and jump in the gym and start working out. I'm driving now, sorry for the shakiness. In fact, a lot of the stories, as I was researching this, they would take it. Okay, but I told him basically, if you just take GLP-1 and you don't change anything about your lifestyle, you'll lose a bunch of weight and then you'll get it all back, in a general sense. The power of like a GLP-1 is it gives you like a second chance. And so I told him, I said, I know you've probably like, he's been mostly pretty much fit. He's never been like overweight. I said, so you probably won't relate to this. I said, unless you just grew up as a fat kid, everyone who started off not overweight and then got out of shape and then now has to get back into shape, at some point is going to hit like a low of, why did I let it get to this? Now I have to like, it seems hopeless. I don't know if I can get out of this. I went through this when I was sitting there at the gym. Now my wife's calling me. They hit a point where they're like, now I want to get in shape, but I regret my past decisions and I feel like it's hopeless. I've gotten so out of shape, I can't do anything. This was me at 36. I was feeling like I'd gained so much weight, I couldn't lose it all, and I was going to injure myself if I tried. Like if I went to the gym and I was trying to lose weight, I was going to end up hurting myself. I was too old and too fat to get in shape. I know this is ridiculous, but this was stuck in my head. It took a lot of work to get past this. So a lot of people will feel that same way. Now I did it the hard way, and I'm glad I did it the hard way, but how do I say this? Not everyone's gonna do that. And it took me years. It took me years, and then from that point on, it took me months of just having to like just brainwash myself to like motivate myself to get out and do it. So would I change how I did it? No, but there are some people who would never be able to do that. They're not going to have that motivation. So to Doug's point, it's not a matter of, yeah, but that what am I trying to say? That work changes you. Some of them, they just won't. So you do the GLP-1, I see this happen from people's testimony. They lose 20 or 30 pounds in 3-4 months, 6 months, whatever it is. Sorry if I'm getting the numbers wrong. And that then gives them hope that they have not had forever or years. And then they start eating better and start going to the gym. And I believe that it is, and I'll find out here soon because I'm getting pretty close to completely making the switch, but it's a lot easier to maintain than it is to lose. There's a hopelessness to trying to lose weight sometimes, that you have to really have that motivation. So they lose, again, this doesn't mean they take a pill and now they go from like morbidly obese to bikini model, or morbidly obese to Instagram bodybuilder, bench pressing, 1,000 pounds. But they go from being like, there's no hope, I've ruined my life, to, hey, there's some hope now. And then they start lifting, they start eating better, some sort of resistance training, and it changes their life. That's a big difference then. So now they are still, to Doug's point, they are still going through that process of using it still takes willpower to go to the gym. It still takes willpower to stop eating foods. Just because you're less hungry doesn't change your food. So now that they're not just starving all the time and have that food noise all the time, because I've heard some people say like they just literally have that food noise and all the time. That's all they can. I only experience this when I'm manic, so I can't imagine that being all the time. That would be insane. And I get why, how a GLP-1 would be so helpful, because it's helping me just in those manic times. This idea of now they have hope, now they've made some progress, and now they can go out and use the discipline to start resistance training. And then again, it lowers your hunger, gets rid of the food noise. It doesn't make you like healthy foods and stop liking unhealthy foods. So you still now have to decide either to give up hamburgers or to learn how to make healthier versions of hamburgers, how to recreate your favorite, your the Big Mac or the Whopper in a healthier version. You still need the discipline and the willpower to do all that. So I would say the best way to, in my opinion, is the GLP-1 for certain people. It helps them. So to say you should just use willpower, it's like they're in a jail, like in a cell, and you're opening the door and giving them the opportunity to then now run towards freedom. So it's not that it just magically does everything. And yes, if you are in a state where you can, and again, where I did this, but it was not easy. I had to like scratch and claw and come out bloody. And yes, I'm better for it than if I just took a GLP-1 back then. But not everyone can do that. And I get it. And so to his point, and I think he kind of understood and kind of maybe even agreed. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he even agreed by the end that, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, that's a completely different thing. And then it allows you to go in and use willpower. So hopefully that helped with that. I've now had 2 injections. I'm at 2.5 and it's helping. Again, it's not like a magic bullet. I still have to make decisions on eating healthier. It does help. I am eating smaller portions, I'm noticing, so that's helpful. But I could stuff myself and then just feel sick. So it does help, but it's not gonna fix it. It's going to help you with willpower in that sense. So to me, it's not a matter of it's lifting the weight for me. It's taking a 10-pound plate off of either side, and now the weight that was too much to lift before is now manageable, if that makes sense. We'll see if and when I go up on dosages, how that changes. But as of right now, it's really just a tool, at least it has been for me, rather than a do it for you.